Excerpt from the Diary of Samuel Pepys, June 6th, 1666. This is recorded to celebrate the 6th anniversary of LibriVox. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. 6th. Up betimes, and vexed with my people for having a key taken out of the chamber doors, and nobody knew where it was, and also with my boy for not being ready as soon as I, though I called him, whereupon I boxed him soundly. And then to my business at the office, and on the victualling office, and thence by water to St. James, whither he is now gone, it being a monthly fast day for the plague. There we all met, and did our business as usual with the Duke, and among other things had Captain Cock's proposal of East country goods read, brought by my Lord Brunker, which I make use of as a monkey do the cat's foot. Sir W. Coventry did much oppose it, and it's likely it will not do. So away goes my hopes of £500. Thence after the Duke into the park, walking through to Whitehall, and there everybody listening for guns, but none heard, and every creature is now overjoyed, and concludes upon very good grounds that the Dutch are beaten, because we have heard no guns nor no news of our fleet. By and by, walking a little further, Sir Philip Froude did meet the Duke, with an express to Sir W. Coventry, who was by, from Captain Taylor, the storekeeper at Harwich, being the narration of Captain Hayward of the Dunkirk, who gives a very serious account how upon Monday the two fleets fought all day till 7 at night, and then the whole fleet of Dutch did betake themselves to a very plain flight, and never looked back again. That Sir Christopher Mings is wounded in the leg, that the general is well, that it is conceived reasonably that of all the Dutch fleet, which with what recruits they had, come to 100 sail, there is not above 50 got home, and of them few if any of their flags, and that little Captain Bell, in one of the fire ships, did at the end of the day fire a ship of 70 guns. We were all so overtaken with this good news, that the Duke ran with it to the King, who was gone to chapel, and there all the court was in a hubbub, being rejoiced over head and ears in this good news. Away go I by coach to the New Exchange, and there did spread this good news a little, though I find it had broke out before, and so home to our own church, it being the common fast day, and it was just before sermon. But, Lord, how all the people in the church stared upon me, to see me whisper to Sir John Minns and my Lady Penn. Anon I saw people stirring and whispering below, and by comes up the sexton from my Lady Ford to tell me the news which I had brought, being now sent into the church by Sir W. Batten in writing, and handed from pew to pew. But that which pleased me as much as the news was to have the fair Mrs. Middleton at our church, who is indeed a very beautiful lady. Here after sermon comes to our office 40 people almost, of all sorts and qualities, to hear the news, which I took great delight to tell them. Then home, and found my wife at dinner, not knowing of my being at church, and after dinner my father and she out to Hales's, where my father is to begin to sit to-day for his picture, which I have a desire to have. I all the afternoon at home doing some business, drawing up my vows for the rest of the year to Christmas. But, Lord, to see in what a condition of happiness I am, if I would but keep myself so. But my love of pleasure is such, that my very soul is angry with itself for my vanity in so doing. Anon took coach and to Hales's, but he was gone out, and my father and wife gone. So I to Lovett's, and there to my trouble saw plainly that my project of varnished books will not take, it not keeping colour, not being able to take polishing upon a single paper. Thence home, and my father and wife not coming in, I proceeded with my coach to take a little air as far as Bow all alone, and there turned back and home. But before I got home, the bonfires were lighted all the town over, and I, going through Crouched Friars, seeing Mercer at her mother's gate, stopped, and light, and into her mother's, the first time I ever was there, and find all my people, father and all, at a very fine supper at W. Hewer's lodging, very neatly, and to my great pleasure. After supper, into his chamber, which is mighty fine, with pictures and everything else, very curious, which pleased me exceedingly. Thence to the gate, with the women all about me, and Mrs. Mercer's son had provided a great many serpents, and so I made the women all fire some serpents. By and by comes in our fair neighbour Mrs. Turner, and two neighbours' daughters, Mrs. Tite, the elder of whom, a long red-nosed silly jade, the younger a pretty black girl, and the merriest sprightly jade that ever I saw. With them idled away the whole night, till 12 at night, at the bonfire in the streets. Some of the people thereabouts going about with muskets, and did give me 2 or 3 volleys of their muskets, I giving them a crown to drink. And so home. Mightily pleased with this happy day's news, and the more because confirmed by Sir Daniel Harvey, who was in the whole fight with the general, and tells me that there appear but 36 in all of the Dutch fleet left at the end of the voyage, when they run home. The joy of the city was this night exceeding great. End of Excerpt from the Diary of Samuel Pepys, June 6th, 1666. Read by Bob Gonzalez.